So, Darrel, we know that Tua is amazingly accurate. He's got 6 interceptions in 7 games. Last year was 8 in 13 games. Is there a reason for the increase, and is it a concern for you guys?
I mean, anytime you turn the ball over, it's a concern. But I think what we try to do is we try to go back and look at the things that happened, and either the decisions that we make or the circumstances behind each one. And they all kind of stand on their own at times. You just want to make sure that you're not having the same mistakes over and over. What I'm basically talking about is like bad decisions, like over and over, and that's not the case. So we chalk them up to what they are, and still continue to work to eliminate those from our game.
What's something from Tua's game that, obviously he's playing at a much higher level than he did last year in his second year in this offense? What's something that maybe we're not seeing that you're seeing him execute at a higher level?
Well, I think the thing that I would point to most is how he's playing on time and his feet. And, if you can watch how he's playing, I mean, it's really impressive. He's doing it at a very high level. And, I don't think you see quite the same timing around the league as Tua's playing within our offense.
You mentioned timing. How do you go about, for lack of a better word, mastering timing as a quarterback?
Yeah, it's hours of work, and it's getting with your guys, learning the body language of each one of your players, knowing how they come in and out of breaks, knowing how the coverage is going to be dictated by the play that you have, and then obviously the footwork that we use, and we use all kinds of footworks for him. I mean, we're spinning around like tops at times. We're doing all different kinds of things. But I think if you watch, that's one of the things that we focus on the most is making sure that that timing with our feet is down, because always feel like your feet are going to tell the story. And if you're too early with your feet or too late with your feet, it's going to give you a reaction to how to your body, a reaction to how the play was supposed to work. And if you're too early and the guy's not there, then you can panic and move on before you need to. Or if you're too late, the same thing happens. You panic and have to move on. So we want to be able to be on time, and he does a great job with that. He's bought into the footwork, and then probably the biggest detail is his vision. I mean, he's has elite vision. He sees all the guys on the field. When he comes to the sideline and we talk, he can tell you what most of the guys have done, and you can go back and watch the tape, and that's exactly what they've done. So that helps as well.
Is that something you saw in him immediately, or is he's grown in that capacity a bunch? Maybe give me an idea of what you're talking about with the footwork and the vision.
Oh, I think his vision has always been there. I mean, that's part of who he is. It's elite. It's just like his accuracy is. But the footwork and the timing within the offense, obviously, that's something that he's mastered over time and continuing to get better at.
So if I can get one more, sorry, Barry, I don't want to hijack that. But I know you spend a lot of time with him pregame. You guys are regularly one of the first guys out. Is that mostly what you're focusing on in those 20, 30 minutes or so when you're doing the dropbacks, the timing, the footwork?
It's a little bit of all of it. It's talking through how the game's going to go. We walk through footwork of all the plays just to make sure that we have those dialed, and then we'll at those opportunities, it's good to talk about maybe a different scenario that we haven't been able to touch on yet. Just little reminders if this happens, and it's really the opportunities for him to visualize. Obviously without people out there, but visualize the play, visualize the footwork, and work on the timing with that. Yes.
We know how precise Tua is with his first read in terms of accuracy. And if it's Tyreek as the first read, he's often, if not always, getting open, Darrel. So if Tyreek doesn't play this week, what points of emphasis will you have to make with Tua with regard to that progressions, first read, etc.?
Yeah, no change. I think that's the thing that, to further answer the question, I think it's one of the things that Tua has done the best at is somebody's thing stopped, said memory fool up here, but anyway. So one of the things that he's done the best is, last year, because it was a new offense, there was a lot of times where number one was open, and we just throw it to number one. Obviously, people see how you do things, and you get defended certain ways, and so you have to make sure that you master the whole play and the full progression. And I think that's something that Tua has really taken to this year, and he's adapted really well. That there have been times where one's not open, and because of the timing and how he's continued to work with learning the progression, but also with his feet, he's been able to progress, and it's been pretty seamless.
If you're able to say or kind of just give me a rough estimate, how many motions are in this offense?
How many motions?
Motions.
I mean, they're uncountable, really. I mean, there's specific names to the motions, but I mean, there's times where the people that are watching the game probably think we came out of the huddle the wrong way or lined up the wrong way, and that's not the case. From the time we walk out of the huddle, guys move, so it's like that's a pre-snap motion, and I mean, I know we're well over 50% of guys moving at the line at the snap, so it's a lot.
If I can briefly go back to the timing stuff, because it's really interesting to me. You've had a backup center in Liam for a couple of weeks there. Like, has Tua taken on more? How has the timing, for the most part, stayed on track when that position seems to be such an essential part of that?
Yeah, the center is a huge part of it, and anytime there's obviously a difference, regardless who your center is. But it's better to have that battery, like the catcher pitcher and the center and the quarterback the same as much as you can. Home is one thing, away is another thing. Silent count, not a silent count, and each guy has a little bit different timing. That's what happens when a new quarterback comes in and you get some issues, or a new center comes in, you get some issues. So those are things that we have to work through, particularly as we were just talking about all the motion. And there's certain motions that have specific timings to them, and Liam is not the same timing as Connor is, and so that's a little bit on Tua to, okay, I've practiced with him the whole week. This is when he snaps the ball when I do this, and so he's trying to get those motions timed up, and it's a huge part of it.
We know that Tyreek is, I guess, questionable would be a term right now, and we know that Jalen could be affected by the back injury. How familiar is Tua with the other receivers? I know tight ends have rarely been targeted the last 3 weeks. Running backs are like 25% of the receptions. How is Tua with options aside from Tyreek and maybe aside from Jalen?
Well, I think because we get to practice with the same guys every day, I mean, we're he's pretty dialed in. I mean, Braxton's done a heck of a job. You saw Sed come in the last few weeks, and he's made some really big plays for us. Chosen's made big plays and gets a lot of reps with him in practice. Obviously, Chase has had an opportunity to get more reps with him as well. So whoever's in there, I mean, I think it's really important for us to continue to, as a quarterback position I'm talking about, go through your reads, go through your progression, and work your footwork, and that'll take care of itself.